how important is that personal brand and that reputation when it comes to increasing the conversions on the paid ads that so many of us are doing?
Oh, it's extremely important now, especially with AI coming up and what's changing in the landscape now. Building a brand or building a reputation is extremely important. And the sad thing is, not many people realize.
Hi, and welcome to the 91 Day Success Podcast. I'm your host, Jonathan Mast, and I have got today with me Nixon Lee. Nixon and I connected, I don't know how long ago on social media. And then all of a sudden, I don't think he knew, but I was following him and his branding advice and everything else. And then all of a sudden, he started making some comments on my AI stuff. And I'm just thrilled today, Nixon, to have you here today to chat a little bit, learn a little bit more about your story and everything else. For those that maybe aren't as familiar with you as I am and haven't been following you, tell us just a little bit about yourself. Give us that elevator pitch on Nixon and what you
Yeah.
do.
Hey, everybody. So my name is Nixon Lee, not the president, of course, Nixon Lee. I'm the co-founder of Spine PR, basically. But around here in the office, they call me the PR whisperer. And one of the reasons why they call me the PR whisperer is because I'm doing PR, which is supposed to be an extrovert thing, but I'm actually a huge introvert. So that's why they call me the PR whisperer, actually. But I've been an entrepreneur since 17 years old. I was into various kind of businesses in when I was like around 17 years old. And I hopefully soon to be an author if I can launch the book, if I get to it, basically. So I've built
Mhm.
several digital agencies over the span of my career since 17 years old. I'm born in Malaysia and I'm currently in Malaysia, residing in Malaysia. And what I do is I help entrepreneurs and thought leaders like you and those who are watching your podcast, not to just be a whisper, I would say, but just to roar like a lion in the crowded marketplace. Because the marketplace is so crowded now these days. So we're not a cookie cutter solutions or anything like that. We're just here about crafting a brand story that is unique to each individual or each person, like your unique fingerprint, right? So whether it's like shaping your narratives or getting your name out there via press release, via publications, via videos, branding, and all that. That's what we do. So we are here to help you tell your stories loud and clear to the masses because if you're not found, nobody buys from you. So we're here to help
So
you
true.
get found. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. And I think that's one of the reasons that you and I had connected is just as you've built your personal brand, as I've seen you do that for others, as I've done that on my own. I really resonated with your message about using effective content in
Mhm.
press releases and public relations in general to build that brand. Tell us a little bit, Nixon, how did you get into that? And if you can, maybe second part of the question, why is that PR part so important to an entrepreneur or a business owner today?
So I got into this business by chance. Actually, not really by chance. Okay, so I got into this business when I had a couple of advertising agencies that I'd formed over the years, and one of our biggest issue was branding. So
Huh?
the issue was how do we get our message across, or how do we get mm, our company, our message to the journalists, to get on press releases, get on the news. So for many years, a lot of customers of mine, while doing the agency and us, we struggled to get that information out. We struggled to get our news out, basically, or basically build a brand. So over the years, I was extremely, I would say, irritated, I would say, with a lot of journalists, a lot of press release people, a lot of public relation companies, because at that time, you only had to go through a certain editor, a certain company, a certain press release company, or public relations company, and all of them had like sticks up their.
Yes,
They
yes,
had, yeah,
absolutely.
it's like we are the elite. If you want to come to us, you gotta do this. So I was pretty much like turned off with that. So what I did is a couple of and a couple of people who started really going deep dive into journalism, press releases, and how we get there. And eventually, we started building a network, and we started finding the right connections and the network. And Spine PR was born. And we said, look, we want to do something that the elites are not doing. We want to give people easy access to this particular service that any but on the streets, any layman on the streets can come in and we can get them news, and we can get them coverage, and we can build a story. So that's how it started, actually, from an irritation, I would say.
Oh, I love it. And that I think that fits where a lot of us have started. We found a gap in the marketplace and we really went to do
Yeah.
that. Talk to me a little bit, Nixon. I know you and I both talk to a lot of business owners who want to be seen as that expert. They want that business coming in. They want to create those inbound opportunities, but yet they end up being so focused on outbound advertising and Google ads and Facebook ads and all that. And they never do the things that, at least I think, that need to be done. And the things I've heard you say about drawing people to them. Can you talk to me a little bit about why is it so important for a business owner, an entrepreneur today to be active in creating the type of content that their audience wants to pull people into them?
In terms of, you don't want to go chasing for businesses all the time, right? So you want people to come to you. And when they come to you, like I would just say, in the case of us, right, we have pushed out enough content, we have built the brand. Because when I started Spine PR and I started the business, one of the main things that I focused on and I told my team was that we need to build a reputation. So to me, branding is basically reputation.
Yes,
When you have a
absolutely.
strong reputation, and one of the famous things that your reputation equals to revenue, right? So we from day one said, look, we need to build a strong reputation, not so much of the hoo-ha thing, showing off your successes, showing off the all that money stuff. Oh, I made $1 million and fancy cars and all that. Those are, and all the fakery stuff. We said, look, we want to build a strong reputation that will last a generation forever. Okay. So one of the things that when we thought about reputation is this, that reputation precedes you. No matter what you do, even if you're dead or you're not in the company, at the end of the day, your reputation still lasts. And if it's a bad reputation, nobody buys from you. So in terms of the inbound and outbound, you can go do ads, you can still get business. But at the end of the day, look at it this way, right? If you have a bad reputation and everything online about you is bad, no one's going to buy from you. If you have bad, just say, for example, now, if I were to ask the audience, go Google yourself, go look at what people are speaking about you. A lot of businesses that we know, that we work with, whether it's an individual or a company, many of them have no idea what the narrative is about them. And I worked with, and I'm currently now working with a so-called 7-8 figure coach, I would say, all right? Well, very well known in the space. He has never taken care of his reputation in the sense of the narrative, right? Of what people are speaking about him, what kind of stuff's going on about him on Google. And when we did an audit for him, and when we showed him what people are saying about him, he was shocked. Like, I have this huge business, it's very successful. I got like 50, 60 people in my team, and we're doing millions a year. I didn't know people were saying this kind of stuff about me, right? And they spend millions of dollars on ads. And what he realized is that I've been spending money on ads, outbound, but my inbound is it's like stagnant, and it's moving, but it's not really moving. And it could be because of the reputation online that is been coming out now. People have been spewing a lot of unhappy people have been spewing a lot of stuff about him online, and that could be affecting his inbound, his sales, or whatever that he's doing. So his outbound, he's doing a lot of ads, but sales are stagnant now. He's noticed that over this year. So he has come to us and we said, look, maybe it could be because of all this stuff that's going on about you, and you have no control of your narrative. You've never taken control of your narrative, and that's affecting your business, I would say. They need to do that.
I love how you talk about that. And it brings up an interesting question that I had with a peer of mine the other day. They're really focused in the ad space. They do a lot of Google and Facebook ads. And his comment to me was, Jonathan, if my clients would take the time to build out that reputation online, what you're talking about, I know, and he doesn't necessarily have the empirical data, but I'd love your opinion on this. He goes, I just know in my bones that we could double or triple the conversion they would get on their ads, because when people see that ad and then they go research them, more of those people would convert into opportunities because there would be a reputation backing up that ad. It wouldn't just be an ad that gets attention. That once they went, there'd be that social proof, that trust factor that people are looking for. From your
Yeah.
perspective and what Nixon, how important is that personal brand and that reputation when it comes to increasing the conversions on the paid ads that so many of us are doing?
Oh, it's extremely important now, especially with AI coming up and all and what's changing in the landscape now. Building a brand or building a reputation is extremely important. And the sad thing is, not many people realize this. Taking about Talking about working with big brands or big companies. If you are a 100-year-old brand, that's a different thing altogether, right? But we're talking about businesses now that I see, or CEOs that I see that are getting a lot of bad press, who never ever bothered about their reputation online. They have a good reputation offline with their network and with people around them, but the online space, as we know, is vicious, right? Yeah, someone can just write a blog about you and just post it up, and when you Google your name one day, you see that blog up there, and it's talking trash about you, and you have no control of how to take it down or how to remove it. Sometimes you can do the legal way, but it's such a headache, right? So if people were just to consider this, let me take care of my reputation now so that in the long run, I don't have all these problems, then do it now. Even people like Warren Buffett says this, right? We can lose millions of dollars, like billions of dollars, but it's one thing we cannot lose is our reputation. The big man himself
Mm.
said that. If he said it, and he says, look, no matter what, he will not forgive anybody in the company if they destroy the reputation of the company, or or if they do something that causes their reputation to fail or whatever like that.
Mm.
Look, you can lose millions, it's fine, but if reputation is, you're out. And that's how important it is. And the sad thing is that many businesses and many people now who are starting agencies, businesses, and so on and so forth, think that reputation is just a buzzword, think that reputation is just a vanity thing, which is not. And both of us, we know that it's not, right?
So true. So true. No,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I think it makes such a huge difference again for everyone. We've got a lot of business owners that are watching today. Nixon, when they're hearing this, they're going, I don't even know where to start. Where does
Mhm.
that business owner, that entrepreneur start today to determine what are those first steps that they should be taking? Obviously, I know they can reach out to you and what you're doing, and that's great. But what
Mhm.
does that look like? What does that engagement look like? What can they expect if they're working with someone like you, as far as what you're going to recommend they do, as far as those next steps to build that reputation online?
Well, the first thing that we do is we tell them, go online and Google yourself. That's the first thing we do. Go Google yourself, go read, whether it's good reviews, bad reviews, or nothing at all. So we always tell them, look, go online, Google yourself, Google your company. What do you find online? Do you find the good stuff, the bad stuff, the ugly stuff, or you're non-existent at all? So that's the first step that we do. Then from there, we will start saying, look, we now have to start building your reputation. Okay. So it can be via content, it can be via social media, it can be via videos, it can be via blogs, it can be anything, right? So in terms of the first step we always do, and the first step that we always usually do is that we start building up their social, I would say their social assets, I would say. That's
Hmm.
always the first thing we do. And one of the easiest to do is your Twitter, your YouTube, your Facebook. These are the main
Hmm.
ones that we usually build for them because these are the most prominent ones anyway. So we will usually do that in the process. And of course, there are a lot of other things that we'll talk to them, where we have frameworks and we talk to them about their brand, what the tonality, what who they are in terms of building an authentic brand for them, and the tonality, their voice, and all this kind of stuff. But that's a long process that we go down with them, and we'll work with them. So we won't say, okay, this give me your money and I'll set up everything for you. No, it's never that way. They have to be involved with this. It's not I do everything for you, and you just sit down and you pay me the money and you just sit around and just hope your brand will be built. No. What entrepreneurs need to understand is this: they need to be involved in this aspect of the brand
Yes.
building, because we can't, because if you're not, then it's not going to be authentic. Be someone like us, a PR company, just building up a fake brand about you, which you do not resonate, and your audience will not resonate, and they will find out and they'll call you a fake, and it's a failure again. So we always prefer to work with one-on-one with the entrepreneur, the business owner, or whatever, and go through a deep dive and dive into building a brand with them. So
Mm.
it's always with you. It's never us alone.
Love that. And I think that's so important because obviously it's building their brand. Therefore, they need to be involved in that process.
Yeah.
I know one of the things, and this is a bit of a dated story, but I remember working years ago with a law firm, and one of the attorneys wanted to build their brand. And much like what you've talked about, we started talking to them about writing some blog posts, creating social media posts, doing some video,
Mm.
creating, basically answering those questions that their audience was asking to establish themselves as an expert. And I'll never forget, he did 4 blog posts, he did 1 video, and I think he did maybe 2 social media posts, and he declared that it was an abject failure because nobody had called him. Talk to me. You laugh, I laugh the same point. I'm like, no, you don't understand. You can't just do this for 4 weeks and expect it to turn everything around.
Yeah.
Talk to me.
Yeah.
How do you address that business owner who says, okay, I do ads because they're easy, they get me immediate response, I know where they're at, and I'm interested in this PR, but I just don't know how long it's going to take, and I don't know if I have the fortitude to stick with it, to continue that
Mm.
consistency. What does it look like when you're building a brand? You and I both know it does not happen overnight, but we also know
Mhm.
it's like a snowball that if you
Yeah.
continue, it gets bigger and bigger, and then it runs on its own at some point. How do you
Mhm.
set clients' expectations as far as time frames? How long do they need to be doing this? What does that
Well,
look like?
well, we typically set a time frame of around 6 to 12 months for just the
Okay.
basic stuff, right? So
Yep.
we do tell clients this, right? We do tell clients this. When you stop doing your ads, what happens? All right.
Everything
In
dries
most
up.
cases, it just dries up, right? So I said, look, you can run your ads for a year, you can run your ads for 2 years. But when you build a brand and when people know who you are and consider you as, I will usually do this, right? Because the thing is that in a lot of cases, we don't have that much of data to work with this client. So we would just say, look, I will build a brand simultaneously with you, build your brand with you simultaneously while you do your ads. All right. And we see how much the conversion is. So just say last year you were not doing any kind of brand building. There was no content, nothing at all. You're just buying ads, going to an offer page and just closing your sales that way. All right. So it's always a new sales. You're always chasing for sales. All right. So while you're doing that, still do the same thing. Don't change it. But now what we're going to do is we're going to build a brand simultaneously next to your ads, right? So so while you're doing ads, we're still bringing content for you. We're still doing your videos. You're still doing a soft video. We're still working with you, shooting videos. You're sitting down with you for 1 or 2 hours in a month, doing all the content video, shooting your video, shooting your 1 minute video, your 60 seconds video, whatever. We identify which platform you want to go to or where your audience are, and we run it together with you. And we see how much do you close now, or how many new type of audience comes in, and you close better and easier than when you were just doing ads. Okay,
Mm,
so
mhm.
we don't have much of those data currently because we don't. Some of them just don't give us the data. The reason why they don't give us the data is because they don't measure the data.
Sure.
Yeah, so what they do is they spend money on ads, they have a closer, they have an appointment maker or whatever, but they're not measuring it. Like how much of sales am I closing through the ads and how good. So what we're trying to do now with a lot of clients is this. You do your branding and launch the ad together. Now look at the closing. How easy is your or how many or what is the percentage of closing your closers are doing now? The sales
Mm,
guys.
mhm.
Is it higher than last year or lower than last year after doing your brand? Now, we know for a fact that it's always slightly higher because if they're doing this for 6 months, 7 months, a year, it will not be exponential growth, right? But we
Right.
do see them closing better or easier because when someone actually goes online, Google their name and starts seeing all content about them, the videos and this and that, like, oh, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about. He's appeared on podcasts, he has come on conferences, he has his own website, he has Facebook, he has LinkedIn, and he has reviews about himself and all this kind of stuff. And people are talking about him. He must be legit, or she must be legit, and all these companies legit. So now when they run ads and people look at their ads and find them online, the closing is much easier. There's lesser amount of having to convince you that this guy is a legit guy. So it works that way. So we've done a couple of them with clients who actually do measure. Unfortunately for us, that most of the clients don't measure, and they say, "Look, Nixon, come here. I want you to build my brand. 6 months, 12 months, can you do it for us?" And a lot of times you have to say no,
Yes.
because I know for a fact within 3 months they're gonna say, "Oh, it doesn't work. I wasted my money. I'm going to go back to ads again." So if we want to work with a client, we say, "Look, you need to know yours. You need to know what you're measuring. You need to know what you're doing, and then we
Mm,
work with you. Then there's success, and the success is long term." So I said, at the end of the day, look, if you were to shut down your ads now, what will happen? If you have built a brand now, and if you have good brand and good narrative, and you have a lot of content out there you can view, and we both know that when you put out a video, yeah, you might get 1 like, 2 likes, 10 views, 20 views, but that video is on there forever, like almost
correct.
forever. Anybody can see it's just working for you. And if someone were to Google one of us now and find our content online, and now we run an ad and there's an offer, it just clicks like, okay, I've seen you enough. I've seen you more than 7 times I've consumed around 7 hours or maybe a couple hours of your content. I trust you. I will buy from you. So that's how it works, right? But I wish I had more good data and more clients would measure their stuff. It would be more fun to work with them. You know?
Well, but at the same time, I can tell you in my experience, so after watching you and others, I started my personal branding journey back in October of 2022. And I can absolutely tell you that, yeah, just as you said, that first 3 to 6 months, sometimes I wondered if I was crying into the wild, so to speak, that
Yeah.
nobody's paying a lot of attention. And then I'll never forget, I was 3 to 5 months in. I'm on a sales call with somebody I've never met before that my team had scheduled for me. And they're like, "Jonathan, I feel like I know you." And I'm like, "Well, great." I'm wondering in the back of my head, why? I've never met you before. He goes, "I see your videos almost every day and I see your social posts." And he goes, "You're in my feed constantly." And I'm like, "Oh, this guy's never
Mhm.
commented. He's never liked
Yeah.
anything I've done, but yet he was paying attention." And now I'm on a Zoom call with him. And guess what? They became a client because, like you were just saying, it became so much easier to close that business because we developed that know, like, and trust. But I didn't have to do it by beating him over the head and telling him how great I was. I just shared value. I answered questions. And in that process, they then said, "Hey, I now want to work with you." And
Yeah.
as that continues, as you and I both know, then that turns after 9 months to a year, it turns into this inbound sales engine that's constantly creating new inquiries, constantly creating new opportunities for your business because of the fact that you've been able to be consistent and prove it. And in my
Yeah.
mind, that's one of the things I'm so excited on the personal branding side that you do, because I really do believe that this is what most of our competitors are not doing. So if
Yeah.
we're willing to do that, we we're always looking for that unique value proposition, what sets us
Mhm.
apart from our competition. And I absolutely believe the personal branding you're talking about, Nixon, is what can set apart any business from their competitors, because so few businesses are willing to be consistent over that 6, 9, and 12 months. And when
Right.
you are, it's like you're at the bottom of a hill and somebody started a snowball at the top and you get bowled over with all of the opportunities and that inertia that's been built. Like you mentioned, if you're doing ads, you just stop when you stop doing
Yeah.
ads. But with this, if you take a week off, you're still going to get leads that are coming in. People are still
Yeah.
going to know you are because that content out there is evergreen, whether it be video or press releases or anything like that's out there for
Yeah.
people to find.
Yeah. And the
Talk to
funny
me.
thing is that, yeah, and sorry, and the funny
No, no,
thing is
go ahead.
like one of the weird stuff that one of the things that I get scolded for or get reprimanded for is not having a proper website. So we have built this business like into a seven-figure business over a couple of years, and until now we don't have a website. And I know I know I get a lot of hate for this, and I get a lot of reprimanding for this from a lot of people who says like, "What the heck are you doing? You need a website." The thing is that okay, we are building a website, and I always say that we are building a website. But what I noticed is that, like what you said, right? The content I put out, the posts that I put out, and as consistently as possible, the videos that I put out, the short videos and all I put out, all those videos have worked for me because over the years it has built like it's like my sales team running 24/7, right? The content for me. So it has built so much of a momentum for me whereby I don't get inquiries. I probably will never get inquiries from a website because I don't have a website, but I do get a lot of inquiries from social media into my messenger or private messages or emails or whatever like that. And in terms of the closing that we have, that when we did a review beginning of the year of our closing rates of people coming to us and speaking to us via messenger and all that kind of stuff, the closing rate is around 90%. And that's extremely
Wow.
high.
That's huge.
And yeah, and the reason why we're closing so easily or so high is because they've seen my content before.
Right.
And a lot of them who come to me says, "Look, hey Nixon, I watched some of your content." I was like, "Okay, which content? I don't know, but I watched some of your content. I've read some of your posts about branding and about this and about press releases and blah blah blah. And I'm interested in how I can get it done." And because they've watched it, my sales team or us, we don't have to do a lot of convincing to you. Like, we don't have to tell you,
Right.
"Oh, okay, you're going to get this benefit, you're going to get this, all this kind of stuff." None of that. Look, this is what we're going to do for you. If you're in, just let us know. We'll send you an email, we'll send you an onboarding, and we close. So a lot of my closing is like less than 5 minutes, closing less than 5 minutes of
Amazing.
sales. Yeah. And it's because of the content. And I know some people will not believe it, say, "Oh, no, it's full of, no, you're full of it. No, ads still work and all that." But we are closing it, and we have proved that we are closing it. And we've shown to certain clients that we're closing sales and getting inquiries through social. And Facebook is one of our biggest revenue generator for us, basically, because a lot of people
Mhm.
come to Facebook because we're on Facebook a lot. And I decided to use Facebook because, because of my age. So I'm not into TikTok and all yet, but Facebook has been my major lead gen for us now. And through our emails, and we collect database through our Facebook groups and all this kind of stuff, and we send out emails. But like I said, it's because they've watched the content, our closing rates has gone higher, and time wastage has just dropped for us tremendously over the years, just through content.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's such a powerful statement when you describe how that works. And again, you're right. To have a 90% closing ratio is just amazing. And I understand the website concern. I've had websites for years. I've been a big believer and I've built websites for many years in my old
Yeah.
agency. And while they absolutely work, I can tell you that from a personal branding perspective, being where your audience is at, and a lot of
Mhm.
times that's on social, Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever, being where they're at consistently and being in front of them does deliver massive amounts of leads. And
Mhm.
in my mind, and I'd love your opinion on this, my belief has been all these platforms, Nixon, they want to keep their viewers on the platform. So let's just say Facebook. You're on Facebook.
Mhm.
Facebook wants to keep the users that are there on there. They don't want them going to TikTok or LinkedIn or
Yeah.
anything else. So when they start identifying the people that your content is resonating with, your posts, your video, that type of stuff, they then show it to lookalike audiences and organically they start promoting you because of the fact that they want to keep people on the platform. And if they know that showing your content to certain types of people, hopefully your target audience, keeps those people on platform, then organically they start promoting you without you having to spend a penny on any of that
Yes.
advertising. And then, as my friend Dennis Yu often says, if you just pay a little bit of postage by paying $1 a day on certain things,
Yeah.
you can get even exponential volume out of that with only minimal work associated with it. So
Yeah.
I think again, I love your model. And while I don't want to say websites aren't important, I agree with what you're saying. And I just can't quite get there yet. But from what you're saying, even myself, I generate far more leads through Facebook than I do through my website. I'd like to think my website's part of that process, but I generate more there because, again, I believe that the platform is promoting me. In your
Mm.
experience, do you see that the platforms are doing that, that they're taking that content, showing it to like audiences, and that's actually helping you build your business? Am I all
Ye
wet, or are you seeing that same thing?
Oh, yes, it's working now. So Facebook is going through, I don't know, people like Dennis, you will know more about Facebook because he's the expert, right? He's the expert. But from what I see is that my engagement is going up. My vi my engagement in terms of like a content that I do and it's been shown to people has
Mhm.
gone up more. As Facebook wants us to post as much as we can, as much good content as we can, and a variety of content that is posts, images, and videos. They want to see that kind of varieties from us. So from my dashboard that I see is the views has been going up, or I think my content that's been fed to people is going up. the reach out there, the reach
Absolutely.
going
Yeah.
up. So I see that going, it's always green, right? It's always going up. The percentage is always going up. So what I'm seeing is now that certain things that I post, I'm getting either likes or engagement or comments from people that are not in my friends list. So
Yeah.
that to me, that is okay. That means Facebook is doing something for me. So I need to double up on my efforts in terms of posting up more 60 seconds videos, 1 minute videos, posts, pictures, and all that stuff that's relevant to my audience, and to push it out as much because it seems to be working for me. And I've done before $1 a day on certain posts where I see engagement is going up, and I just push it, and that works wonders. I don't know why a lot of people are not doing $1 a day. I mean, it's like you're saving tons of money in wastage, tons of ads, and you know how to optimize what is working for you and what's not working for you. So I've seen sales coming in from agencies who I've never ever met them before, and they're coming into my inbox and saying, "Look, we want to do some work with you," or even individuals who are coming in and say, "Look, we want to do some work with you. I don't know, can we get offline and talk and whatever?" But it's all coming from people who have never liked my posts,
Yes.
right? Because I can't see who view it, but sometimes when I post a video and I get like, I don't know, 3 likes, 4 likes, and I never, and it used to bother me last time. It used to bother me a couple of years back. Like, man, I did this video and I only had 3 likes. Should I just delete off that video? But what I've realized is that the likes and the engagement or the views, in terms of the engagement or the likes, doesn't matter because people told me that they've seen the video I posted like 3 months ago. And sometimes I
Yes.
don't even know. So what I do now is this, I ask them if when they come to my messenger and they say, I saw your video, can you show me which video did you see or which post did you see? And they'll take it and I was like, man, I did this like last year in December. And you saw it. Because of that you came and spoke to me like, okay, it's working. You know what I mean?
Yes. 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 No, I love that. I love that. Well,
Yeah.
Nixon, the name of our podcast is the 91 Day Success Podcast. And
Mhm.
one of the things I love to ask our guests, especially someone like you with such experience, is if you were going to start over or you were advising someone that was going to start over and you said, hey, you've got 91 days to build a new business, you've got $1,000 to invest. You don't have to worry about living expenses and all that, but you've got $1,000 to invest in the business. Nixon, what would you recommend somebody today in June of
Mm.
2024? What would you recommend they do in that first 91 days, that first 3 months, in order to build a sustainable business today?
Okay, if sales is not an issue, means if you're not in desperation to get immediate income or sales, and you want to build a business that's sustainable for a long time and 7 figures, I would say, right? So what I did when I first started this thing, started the business was I identified where I wanted to be first, which platform that I would say just go to social because it's free. You don't have to pay anything. It's free. You can put up content, whatever is free is there. Okay. And you have accessible, and each platform, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, whatever, have access to millions of people that could be a potential customer of yours. So I would say don't spend the money on ads yet. Don't spend the money on unnecessary things or any shiny objects. Identify which platform you want to go in and commit to that platform for at least 2 months. All right.
Mm,
So if if LinkedIn is your platform, go into LinkedIn. If you think that all your clients are going to be on LinkedIn, your potential clients are going to be on LinkedIn, go into LinkedIn, master LinkedIn, post up as much content as you can, and try to position yourself as a leader or a thought leader or an expert in that particular niche or industry. Okay,
mm,
do it for 12 months. Or I would say 90 days. That is the first 30 days that I would do. All right,
sure.
identify where you want to go, who you want to talk to, and try to dominate that particular platform as much as you can. All right. If you can spend on that, if you have $1,000 and you want to spend for that 91 days, I would say if you have access to Danny's dollar a day, do that. It's going to
Yeah.
save you lots of money. You're going to get lots of results. All right. If you can get access to it, right? I would do that. I wish I had Danny's dollar a day when I first started. But what I did is I went into a lot of the groups. I connected with a lot of influencers in these groups. Like, for example, like you have a huge group of 100,000 people.
Yeah.
I connected with the admin directly offering something to them and trying to work with them so that I could market my services, of trying to find something that can provide value to that group. So that's what I would do for the first 91 days, without spending too much of money and without complicating stuff. That is the simplest thing I would do to build a business.
Awesome. Well, I love that. And I think that adds so much value. Nixon, tell us as we bring the plane in for a landing here, we wrap things up. If people are listening to you and they're going, okay, I need to know more about this. I need to figure out, and they want to reach out. Nixon, what's the best way for them to reach out to you and your team and connect with you guys to find out what that looks like to build that brand and to get some help from you and your team along the way?
Yeah. So the best way to reach me is on Facebook. I'm on Facebook 24/7. I don't sleep, basically. I'm a vampire. I'm joking.
I'll attest to that. You were on all hours of the day when we're communicating. I
Yeah.
agree.
And I don't use a chatbot. If I'm talking to you, it's me talking to you, right? So, or it's usually me talking to you, because I love communicating with people who message me personally, unless they are some psychos. But in most of the time, I sleep very little because I don't sleep much, and I'm really excited to speak to people who are looking for stuff. So Facebook is the main place. If I'm not on Facebook, it's either I'm on a holiday. You can reach me via my email. Don't go to my website because there's nothing on my website at the moment. You just see it's coming soon. I'm going to get killed for this. But
That's all right.
so Facebook or my email. And I don't know where you have my email, where you can put my email if you want to.
Awesome. Okay, we'll definitely do that. We'll put that up in the show notes to make sure
Yeah.
everybody can see that as
Yeah.
well as on here. And last question as we wrap things up. Business owners are debating. Man, I hear what Nixon's saying. I'm just not sure. What do you recommend they do next to help them understand whether branding like this is going to be beneficial to their business?
If at the end of the day, where are you now in your business, right? And where do you want to go? If what you're doing now is not working for you, want to try something different, right? If it's not working for you and you're doing the same thing and month after month and year after year, you're still struggling, you're still suffering, and you still can't close a sale, or it's still so difficult for you, why not try something different? Look, at the end of the day, if you look at all the superstars online now, okay, all the superstars, like from the Alex Hormozy and
Yeah.
and so on and so on, right? They had the same thought. Look, I'm gonna buy ads, and they made their money, right? They made their money. They've done ads and offers and all that stuff. But look at the trend that's happening now. All these big superstars, what are they talking about? Branding, personal branding. And what do they always say? I wish I started on my branding years ago. I wish I started on my narratives years ago. I wish I started on my reputation years ago, right?
Yes.
So if they are all speaking the same language and they're all saying the same thing, and they are more successful than you, and they are focusing on personal branding and building reputation because of the AI wave that's coming in, I think you as an entrepreneur should stop overthinking, overcomplicating, and say, look, I need to do this. Because if these guys who I'm always looking up to as you as an entrepreneur, you're watching their videos and you're consuming their content and you're not doing the same, then you're just in for a tough road ahead in 2024 and above and beyond.
Yeah. Great advice. No, and I think you really nailed it there. If they're spending time looking at others in the industry, why are they not doing it to become the leader for themselves? Totally agreed. And I think that's a
Yeah.
great point. Well, Nixon, I want to thank you for your time today, for joining us. You again for connecting and all the guidance and encouragement you've given me over the last couple of years as we've connected. I'm so grateful for that. If you're watching the podcast today, I want to thank you so much for sticking with us and joining us. And I want to encourage you to reach out if you're interested in this personal branding stuff. Reach out to Nixon and find out what he and his team can do for you, because I think you'll be super, super impressed. And with that, guys, make it a great day, and we'll see you on the other side. Bye-bye.